Hey everyone, this is one part of a two-part Q&A video made possible by questions from the Discord community. This video was recorded 3 months ago, so sorry for the long delay. Editing it was a nightmare. I went through multiple editing platforms and dealt with video and audio loss along the way. But it's finally done, and I hope you enjoy it.
What maps are going to be in the place test? It's going to be one or a few. Will it even be the maps that will be in the final game?
There's going to be 2 maps in the playtest, and they will be in the final game.
Alright. Will the player's inventory work similar to Left 4 Dead 2, or will the game have an actual backpack system?
The game will have a backpack system. I won't tell you what it's like yet, though.
How good is blocking? Is it spammable?
Blocking is just as reliable as shoving. It's just a different method.
How much is Roblox moderation system affecting the vision for the game? Well, this is a good question.
A lot. There's a couple zombies that had to be scrapped because of Roblox's moderation rules. We don't have gore in the game currently, and we have to use heavy blood instead of gore because of Roblox's moderation. A lot of design systems, like the infection system, had to be changed because of Roblox's rules about self-harm and suicide. A lot of content was cut from the game because of moderation, so we had to find ways to work around it.
When the game is done, are you guys planning on releasing any different game modes?
Right now, the current planned game modes are Campaign, Survival, and Snowbox, which is pretty much just a sandbox mode. I know people want to have a versus mode in-game, but we most likely won't have that.
How many maps will there be on release?
We're shooting... Oh, actually, it's more than 6 now. Because we have Maypro and San Marcos. Originally it was 6. Because we have 4 campaign maps and 2 survival maps. But the amount of survival maps will most likely increase.
Will we have spilling blood in the game? If yes, will that option stay on snow so it will become red snow?
Yes.
Is there going to be some kind of zombiepedia where you can see that each zombie does after you encounter them, like abilities and tips on countering them?
Yes. This zombiepedia will also have lists of map information and your in-game statistics.
This is probably one of the things I'm the most proud of that's going to be in the game, to be fair.
Will there be other maps from different cities? Will it all be in the Loretto area?
The scavengers pretty much go around the whole of Texas, and there's only one map that's in the Loretto area.
What aspects / parts of Red Snow were created by the community? Devs, mods, friends, members?
The original Stalker design was actually created by Dreg and then twisted a bit by me. Originally they acted more like a fallen angel than what they do now. Citrus Popper is literally how I got into game development, so without him, game probably wouldn't even exist right now. Lots of aspects of Red Snow were changed and overviewed by other developers. Can't really say too much for members besides those of you who have your suggestions accepted.
Alright. Will there be any vehicles in the game? How will they work?
There will be vehicles. The majority of them you can't even operate properly. But there are a couple of in-game like scripted sections where you would get to use one. You wouldn't really get to drive it like freely though.
Alright. What will be some of the objective tasks we will see during campaign maps?
I'm gonna share one, and it's from Loretto. I really like this objective. It's a panic event where you have to light a bunch of corpses on fire. But the scavengers don't know that inside the corpses are also a bunch of sleeping zombies. And so the zombies come out of the fire enraged. And you have to focus on getting out of an enclosed space while enraged fire zombies are chasing you. I really like that objective.
Will you be able to manually choose who you're going to be when the round starts, like choosing Elliot or Marcus, or is it randomized when you spawn?
You'll be able to choose who you want to be before the round starts.
All right. Were there any scrapped ideas, characters, or game aspects you would like to share?
One of the scrap zombies, the Seeker, was a very... It wasn't an important zombie, but I really liked designing him. And he was intended to just be frontline attacker, catch players off guard, and his role has been fulfilled by other zombies. I feel like a lot of the scrap stuff that I'd share would most likely be later than now.
All right. Will you... love it. How will fortification / barricading work?
So, if you have the claw hammer utility, you'll be able to barricade doorways and windowways, but you'll have a limited amount of barricades, and you can reposition these when needed. Whenever they're broken, they're done.
All right. Will there be a vote kick?
Yes.
Okay. Will the game include friendly fire?
Friendly fire will be a toggleable option for party creating.
You're gonna have to look at the picture on the dock for this one, but what is this flame logo?
It's your health bar. Very proud of coming up with that design.
Nice. I saw the latest video you guys posted and it was great, but at the end you said you were working on utilities and you never told us what they were. So could it be like frag grenades, molotovs, and gas grenades? And are they craftable or do you have to find them naturally?
All of your utilities and weapons you'll have to find naturally. Nothing's craftable. Utilities are split up into 3 sections. So there's support, offensive, and defensive. It kind of speaks for itself. Like an offensive utility would be like a Molotov. Defensive would be like one of the door shields, and support would be something like a medkit.
Random events during campaigns, variety during campaigns.
Yes, there will be random events during campaigns, and there will also be side objectives that you can do. We are looking into more random stuff besides that, and we'll see how that goes. I know Mind and Brahm had some pretty good ideas about that.
So, one of the main ideas that we had is currently doing the way Noble Room in Hell does it to have some variety in the maps. It could be like, for example, you're going through this town, and maybe there's a bit too much snow upstairs, and it's a bit too cold, so you have to go down to the sewers. Oh, my mic's cutting out. But sometimes if there's too much snow or it's too cold outside, you'll just have to go through the sewers. Or maybe even the sewers are completely blocked, you'll have to just go through the main street. But if it's too populated and there's a bit too much going on in the main street, maybe you'll have to go through the buildings. It's a bit of a rough idea, but it could be explored more as time goes.
Will players be pulled from cross platforms or isolated to each?
I know the way Guts and Black Powder does it is they separate the mobile players from the console and PC players. I don't think we'll need to do that. It'll just mark on the party what system each player is playing on, because we don't have our lobbies set up in the same way.
That's actually a very good idea.
We could maybe look into something along the lines of like, you can tolerate certain things on your group or just, choose to have cross-platform or not, but it's probably never going to go that far.
Alright. Is the game optimized for low-end laptop devices?
The game is optimized as much as we can optimize it. I know how you feel because I personally have a low-end laptop. But when it comes to optimization, there's only so much we can do.
How do you plan on staying relevant?
We'll have consistent, or at least we'll try to have a consistent update schedule. We'll maintain communication between developers and community. There's not a lot we can do outside of that.
I don't think it boils down to being relevant. I think it boils down to, we'll have high peaks of players, lower peaks of players. As long as we have a decent amount of people who just play the game casually, I'd be fine with it.
Yeah.
I want to get to the point where we can have plushies of the characters.
Maybe one day.
Saying they would be marketable.
What happens after you complete a map? Will you just get sent back to the lobby, or will you continue playing with those people?
You will continue playing with those people, and you'll have a choice to go between the next map chronologically, a map of a different mode, or if you want, you could redo the map, and you'll have those choices.
Will there be a way to invite certain people to play with you? For example, if you want to invite your friend to play with you, there could be a button that can invite people to your match.
We currently don't have an invite system, but you can search for lobbies that your friends are in /made, so there's not really a reason for it.
What does hell mode entail?
I'm not gonna go too far into it, but pretty much what it does is it changes the whole game. Changes the designs of the zombies, how they function, what the story of the game is, and how certain maps operate.
I don't even know how this question got into here, but what is the lore of Red Snow?
I'm only gonna do like the basic story, because if we sat here and went through like the actual lore, this video would be too long. Pretty much what happens is this unexpected snowstorm it's a global snowstorm. It happens during March, and something happens in Mexico where now there's zombies, and the zombies in Mexico are coming into Texas. And so the US acts upon this by properly quarantining everything and isolating Texas from all the other states, while Texas has to deal with the zombie threat. That's pretty much what's going on.
If the player plays solo in a squad lobby, will there be NPCs like in the World War Z game?
We would like to have NPC companions, but this proves way too challenging. And if we ever did have it, it would have to be something for the future.
I don't know how much I can add to it, really, besides just saying that technically it's going to be very challenging, and in terms of like extending development time and taking away time from other features, I don't know if it'll be worth it, because it'll either feel like the NPC companions are too smart because they know how to do everything and they can do things players can't, and it'll make them look like broken, or broken, I mean like not like broken, but like in terms of performance, like they're way too good. And they could also be too dumb, where they only do what a player can, but they'll seem like not too smart, and they'll genuinely just not perform as well as you would expect them to.
What will happen to a player if they get left behind?
They will most likely die.
What happens if we keep running mid-game? What I meant, there is that what if we keep moving at a fast pace instead of a slow-paced gameplay like the game intended to.
The game isn't, it's not like entirely slow paced. It's not forcing you to play fast or slow. It's forcing you to play at whatever pace you can to survive. So there's no immediate consequence. Like, you're not given anything if you go faster, but nothing is taken away from you either.
How does infection work?
The infection system, I'm not going to go too deep into it because there's supposed to be a whole devlog about it. It's pretty much one bite and you're already infected, so you're going to have to figure out what kind of means you can do to absolve yourself from it.
So some people have noticed that the stalker, when they bite, they infect very fast. So does that mean it's the same for everyone else?
It's only for the stalker. Thanks for pointing that out though, because I know that's something people have seen a lot and say, oh, this is the infection time for all of the zombies, but no, it's only that one zombie.
What will the storytelling of the game be? Background / small details, or will there be more elaborate explanations?
We're planning to tell the story of the game based on background / small details, but we will have some elaborate explanations elsewhere. It's a mix between the two, honestly, because If it was purely environmental storytelling, I don't think some of the points of the game would be expressed.
How will other survivors, NPCs, be like in the game? Will they actually help sometimes or just roll over and die to the nearest zombie?
Both. There's a lot of NPCs, and some of them are random event NPCs and some of them are key to beating the map. So it really just depends on which NPC it is.
Is there a skill/perk system add-on? How unique is the combat compared to Left 4 Dead 2?
There is no perk system, no skill tree, none of that. It's not currently planned either. I would say the combat system is very different from Left 4 Dead. We have things called sweep attacks and heavy attacks, blocking, shoving. You'll have to think a lot more whenever you're attacking zombies of how you want to do it.
Will there be unlockable cosmetics?
Yes.
Currently, character skins are mostly going to be rewards when it comes to badges, defeating maps with the highest difficulty, helmet stuff, just, be it an actual reward for actually doing very hard things. We're also going to have, outside of the shop, that's probably going to be in the game when it comes to, just donation and stuff. That's also going to be allowing you to get skins through rations, that's going to be the game. Or you can get them, there's going to be 3 tiers of skins. We'll have the normal skins, which is going to be the most basic skins, which are going to be bought with in-game currency. We're going to have the in-between, which is either by the in-game currency or Roblox, which is depending on whatever you prefer. They'll have a bit more details than the first tier. And the third tier is going to be the ones that we actually put the most time into. And those ones we're going to be only by paying with Roblox, because as much as we want this to be a passion project, it's still nice to have a smaller revenue.
I wanted to mention that Roblox does not push games that don't make enough money, so we kind of have to add something like this if we want to be pushed.
And when it comes to weapon skins, it's still heavily under discussion. There is no plan for them yet, but maybe they could be. We just have to talk it out more.
Currently, what we have, we have like carbon variants, wood variants, and steel variants, but they're not unlockable or anything. You can just choose to have them.
In terms of gunplay, what should we expect?
So guns in the game, they're very loud, so they attract zombies, and they can also set zombies off. But they have really good stopping power. You'll be able to kill a zombie quicker than melee, and then you also don't have to get up all close and personal or anything, so you most likely won't get blood splattered on your screen. Those are pretty much the perks of having a gun. There is going to be limited ammo, and the emphasis is that we're trying to get people to use both the guns and melees. We don't want you to just be using purely one. I mean, you could if you want, but it may not go as well as a more synergizing loadout.
Alright.
Certain zombies affect how guns are used. I wouldn't say directly affects, but zombies like the Thrasher, you wouldn't want to set off a Thrasher before killing it. So if you used a gun, you would set it off, and it could end badly if you're in its line of sight.
You'll just have some zombies you prefer to approach more discreetly than others.
And the second devlog, you won't be able to go in third person in the game. The only reason you'd go in third person is if you get caught by a zombie.
How will you make the game replayable?
We will have modifiers, for one, they're going to be really exciting, because there's going to be a ton of different modifiers you can get. You can buy them in the shop, as well as unlocking them through playing the game naturally. You can get contracts for more supplies, along with stuff like random events and side objectives that will be present in the campaign mode.
Alright. Are you planning to monetize the game? If so, how?
We plan to monetize the game mostly with skins and things that don't directly affect gameplay, because the only reason we're really monetizing the game is for us to get pushed.
probably have like game passes, which is related to donator, you know, things that just is pretty much just there to help us and not really be a advantage to you in game.
How long would the maps take to beat?
We don't know yet. It depends on both the map and how well the players are doing.
It's just gonna depend on players. You're gonna have people who are gonna take 40 minutes and you're gonna get people that are gonna take 5 or 10. It's just, we're trying to make it so constantly, well, it's gonna be more consistent around the 15 minutes mark, but it depends on you really. How good you are at the game, how long you've been playing the game, and how much you know the map, so. And also just RNG when it comes to the special infected that are gonna spawn.
Will any Texas landmarks or recognizable sites be included or mentioned?
Yes.
Okay. I thought you were going to elaborate more. All right, next up, we got, how in-depth does a voice line system go if you already made it?
A really in-depth voice line system would be nice, but it would be very, not hard, but it would just be really annoying to implement. Especially because of Roblox's audio system and how they moderate things. Like, there's player instances, environmental instances, and zombie instances. And so environmental instances consist of things like players getting caught on fire, players staying in the smoke part, stuff like that. Player instances is stuff like player getting hurt, or swinging their weapons, or reloading, stuff like that. Zombie instances are like whenever they spot a zombie or get caught by one, stuff like that.
Will Harper and whatever she's doing matter in the main game?
Yeah. She does a lot. One of the main things she does is stalks the player around some maps. I'm not gonna go too far into it. But yeah, Harper matters.
How would looting impact gameplay besides gathering more weapons?
Looting also provides you with the in-game currency, which is supplies, which is how you're gonna get stuff like skins and modifiers and contracts and all of that stuff.
I'd like to add, just in case someone heard me earlier, when I say rations, I mean supplies. It's just that I don't know why I called it rations.
How would maps be chosen within the game?
So, in the lobby, the host will be able to choose whatever map that they want to play. And then, when a game is finished, then players are presented the option to keep playing with their team or to leave the lobby. If they choose to keep playing, then they can play between 3 maps. The first one is the chronological map. Second one is a map of the opposite game mode. And the third one is to redo the map.
What does each special infected do? What unique threats do they pose to survivors?
So there's the common zombies, the roamers and runners, which are support. The snares, which is also a support zombie. Vampires, which is an immobilizing zombie and meant to infect players. Thrashers, which are obliterating zombies and they're offensive. Wretches, which are a disruptor and a support. Bullet sponges, which are a walling tank zombie that prevent you from getting more important targets. Stalkers, which are more meant for finishing, and reekers, which are a buffer and support, but also act as a tank.
All right. How will teamwork be incorporated into the game? How will you need to rely on your teammates to survive maps?
It pretty much boils down to kind of how Left 4 Dead does. If you're gonna grab by a special infected and you're alone, you're most likely just gonna go down. We might have some interactables that take more than one players. We'll have some mission objectives which are scattered around the map, so technically spreading out is better, but at the same time you're also putting yourself at risk. So maybe sometimes you'll want to do 2 groups of 3s or 3 groups of 2s and kind of just go from there. The idea is that being alone is not impossible, it's just very difficult compared to being with someone else.
Will there be stealth mechanics in the game? How will zombies detect and aggro onto players?
There's gonna be some stealth sections, like in maps like Houston, but it's not a very big part of the game, so you won't really be able to do it in maps that aren't designed for it. Zombies detect and aggro onto players like any other zombie would. It just needs to be either in your vicinity, or you need to be in its vicinity, or you might set it off by making a noise that's too loud, like a gunshot or doing an objective.
It's pretty much just allowing you to delay the inevitable, but it also buys you some time.
Let's see here. This is the last one. How will progression work? What can players earn/unlock through grinding and such? Will there be a shop system to buy new things?
This allows us to go a bit more into details from what we've been saying since earlier, since we say shop and stuff, but we don't really go deep into the details.
Progression is based off of how well of a scavenger you are. You get all of your weapons from finding them in the map, and then you can use that to build your loadout. The shop system is pretty much buying anything that isn't your weapons or utilities, which you get from getting other supplies from the map. Progression, at its core, when it comes to weapons, is just building your loadout and finding what works for you. Earning and unlocking is through things like earning modes, modifiers, contracts, all of that stuff.
Doing a Q&A like this, it took time. Well,
Building a world like this, it's gonna take time.
Building the Q